everybody, I'm Tom Vasel, and today we're taking a look at 8 different games, small to large, some good, some not. Well, not much more to say, other than if you ever want to see these short reviews by themselves, check out Dice Tower Encore. It's our sister channel, where we just put these out there by themselves if you're looking for them. But now we're going to go through them one by one. Let's get started. Butababel. This is about building the Tower of Babel if you were the 3 little pigs. Why? I agree. I don't understand that at all. But anyhow, here's how it plays. In this game, each player is going to have a pile in front of them. And in fact, you'll have a dummy pile if you're playing with less than 4 players. There's a deck of cards, and the cards are rock, paper, and scissors. You'll have 3 cards in your hand, and when we say go, you can start playing cards in anyone's pile. But basically, paper covers rock, scissors cuts paper, and rock beats scissors. And you're just playing the cards, and then you draw a new card in your hand. So this will keep going until all the cards in the deck are gone. When that happens, you'll count each pile. So let's pretend there's 21 cards in this pile, there's 16 in this pile, 14 in this one, and 12 in this one. So this pile has the most, but they're too big. If you're more than 3 cards higher than the next person, or 3 or more cards, then God smites you and you're out of the game. Loser. 21 is 5 higher than 16. 16 is only 2 higher than 14, so they win. Now, if this had been 17, then they would have been out and we would have kept going. And that is the game. This is a silly, dumb game. I have to give it a 5 because there's just not much there. You're just playing the cards out as fast as you can. I laughed, so there's that. But it's a one-time play, and I'm done. I can't really recommend anyone buy it. You just play the cards out as fast as you can. Rock on top, paper top, scissors, draw cards, blah, 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 blah. You're putting cards in your own pile to make it higher than everybody else's, but then you play cards on other people's to bring them up, and that's the whole game. I mean, it's funny-ish that you're building the Tower of Babel as a pig, but God gets mad and takes a pig out. I suppose there's some humor to that. But this is a very one-time thing that would make me laugh, but I can't really recommend it. Font Karuta. Hey, do you know your fonts? Do you know the difference between Times New Roman and Comic Sans? Well, I think everyone knows that. Helvetica. Well, that's what this game is. How fast can you recognize your fonts? Hold on. Watch the overview. Around the table, you're going to scatter all the different font cards. Each font card on the back of it tells you the name of the font, shows you the font and all the different letters, shows you some of the letters on the front here, R, Q, K, M, and E, J, 3, G, which sounds like someone's password. Anyhow, one person's going to be the reader for a round, and so they're going to get up and they'll say, okay, Windsor. And the traces of the 19th century can be felt in this plump, rounded serif typeface, blah, 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 blah. As they're reading that, everyone out there is listening to them and trying to figure out what it is. I think I found it. Flip it over. Windsor. Great. I get to keep the car. Or, I think I found it. Oh, no. Comic Sans. If you're wrong, you're out that round. If everyone's wrong, the round is over. Otherwise, whoever gets it gets the card. And you keep going till all the cards are gone, and whoever has the most is the winner. Yeah, okay. So, I love fonts. I think fonts are interesting. I like finding new fonts, taking a look at fonts. I think they're really interesting. But I don't like this game. Who is this game for? This game is for people who are going, and there is Times New Roman, and there is Impact. I mean, maybe this would be for an educational class where you're teaching people fonts. It's insane to me that this game exists. That's what the game is. I like fonts, and I'm not interested in it. I give it a 5 out of 10. I mean, it's because I like the fonts, but that's about, it's probably not even that good. It's probably a 4, really. A 4. We'll change it to a 4. I just can't recommend this game to anybody, unfortunately. I just think it's hilarious that someone thought someone would buy it. Scram. That's like my dad would always say that when we were bugging him. He'd be trying to get stuff done. He'd be scram. So this game is Critters versus Campers. It's from Bezier Games, from Ted Alspach, and is a game in which you want to have the lowest number, the fewest animals between you and another player. It's for teams, although they do have rules in here for people if you have less than enough people to have a team. There's rules in here for 3, 1, and for 3 players, a 1 versus 2. But let's take a look at it, and we'll be right back. In Scram, players are trying to have the lowest score with their teammate. This game is made for teams of 2, although there are alternate rules if you have only 3 people playing. But me and my teammate, we want to have the lowest score in front of us. You can only do it when you're down to 2 cards. At that point, if you're down to 2 cards, 2 or fewer, you can declare Scram on your turn, and then your turn ends immediately. Everyone else gets one last turn. We will turn over all the cards. You start with 3 face down and 2 face up, and whoever has the lowest total between teams is the winner. But how do you play the game? So essentially, in this game, you'll start with 3 face down and 2 face up. You don't even know what these are. And on your turn, you're going to draw a card. Come from the top of the draw pile or the discard pile. If you draw from the top of the draw pile, you can play it for its special ability. Discard a card. Great. Or you can play it for its number. If you play it for its number, you can replace cards. I'll be like, I'm going to replace this 11 with a 10. I mean, I don't know why you would do that, but you can. You can also say, I'm going to replace more than one number. I think both of these are 11s. Hey, they both are, because equals means becomes 11. So I get rid of 2 of them for a 10. Well, that's a pretty good deal. I could even pick one of these. But if any number is not the same number, when you do that, and you can do yours and your partner's cards, then you have to put them all back, and you have to add the card that you put in front of you, so your score is going to go up. And if you did a whole bunch of different cards, you'll even draw more cards from the deck. And that's basically it. All the cards from 5 to 13 have special abilities. Place this card face up in front of you, discard 2 cards, discard a card, discard a card, exchange 2 cards, look at a card, look at 2 cards, you can exchange them, and that is the game. Look at this. Doesn't it look like the side of a donut box? I don't like Scram. I really don't. I don't like the art at all. It's weird art. I'm not a big fan of the art in this game. This is another version of Cabo, which Allspot Game has made ad nauseum at this point. They made Silver and Silver Bullet and Silver this and Silver this. They also made Cabo, and now they made Scram, which is, I guess, is a team version. It's the same thing. You play cards, you manipulate cards around there, you're trying to have the lowest in front of you. That's okay, I guess, but I just don't find it to be enjoyable. And what's weird about this one is they're like, if you have a 4 and you want to replace 8 8s or 4 8s in front of you, turn them over. But what if one of them's not an 8? Then why would you turn a card over? If you know that 3 cards are the same, why would you turn a 4th card over? There's no incentive. The only incentive I can think of is near the end of the game. You're like, well, the other team's about to win. Okay, now we'll just turn over a bunch of cards and hope they're all the same number. They have rules like if you turn over 5 different number cards, you draw 2. Like, who made that rule necessary? It's so weird to me. I don't get it. The basic game's okay, but that rule is just an odd thing. You try to get 3 of the same number and then change them out for 1. Maybe there's folks out in the mass market who are going to enjoy this. It feels like it was a game made for Walmart and stuff. But and I know some people do like the Cabo thing, so maybe you'll enjoy this with the team part of it. But for me, it just wasn't one I liked, so I give it a 5 out of 10. Lil Guys. Now, this is a game that has a bunch of really weird-looking guys. Look at those Lil Guys on the cover. That's what this is about. This is a game that when I first saw it, I was like, all right, Lil Guys. Someone drew some funky pictures. But then I read it was an I split, you choose. I do like I split, you choose. Actually, it says I cut, you choose. Here's how it plays. In this game, there are 2 decks of cards. There is the Lil Guys deck, which is made up of little guys. They have multiple symbols of different types on them. You use a certain number depending on the number of players, and the party store. So at the beginning of a round, you'll put out the top 5 cards from the party store. And then you're going to put out the cards from the little guy deck in order. You're going to put out 10 of them. So normally it would be in one big line, but I'm going to have it in 2 lines because of the camera here. And then whoever's turn it is going to split these. So maybe they'll put these 3 together, these 2 together, these 2 together, and these 3 together. You have to split them in the line like that. And then each other player, I'm doing this if it was a 4-player game, so maybe the first player will be like, well, I'm taking these. So they take those and put them in front of them, and then the next player says, I'll take these, next player takes these, and I'm stuck with these. So you put these in front of you. You'll put them in different columns to show. And this one here, this poob, is worth -2 points. However, at the end of the game, you're going to take a look at each type and look at the number of symbols. So right now I have 1 symbol, 2 symbols. Both the 1 symbols are -1. 2 symbols is worth 1. All the way up to 9 symbols is 26, but if you get 10 or more, you get 0. Now, when you take your group, you can also buy something from the party store. You do that by leaving one of your people in the party store. So maybe I'll leave them there to take this tea, which is +2. And you cannot use a negative person to get anything from the party store. The next person might be like, I would like this A, and they'll switch someone out for that. There's also friends. One of the best places to find friends is in the party store. It's another group of people. You can have this here, which is just plus points. These are worth points if you complete them at the end of the game. This one says if I have the most different types of guys, or the most guys total. Some give you a power. Your rich guys are considered popular guys. They count for 2 of any type. So I'm like, ooh, this rich guy now is a popular guy. There's even negative cards, like this firecracker prank you can play on somebody else. This is the card you take, and you give up a guy to do it, and you have to be careful because there is a grandma card, and if that gets given to you and you played prank cards, they're all going to be worth -2. The vast majority of these cards are not prank cards, though they're either powers, ways to score points, or end games. So you keep going till this deck runs out, and then you'll add up your points. So points on the person, which are often negative points, points for each group, and then points from the store cards you got. I really like Lil Guys. I'll admit, I think these little guys are cute and funny. So there's that. But I like just the aspects of this game. I love I Split You Choose. You have these 10 cards in order. You're trying to split them so that you get something, that's reasonable when it comes around. But the store is also a lot of fun too. You put a guy in there and you take one back. I know some people won't like to take that cards, but they're not huge to take that cards. As usually you can wreck someone else's scoring card or something, but also if you use that, you might get hit by the grandma card later on. And by you doing that, you're also not getting a good card for yourself. I like the way the sets work. Have 1 of each, that's not good. 2 of each, it's okay. Get a bunch of the same color, and that's fantastic. Even the ones that are -1 or -2, I'll take those because you get some -1s, but then you get 20 points from that set, and there's even some cards that can cancel the negative points on them. So that's fun. It's not particularly heavy, but it's a nice, light, enjoyable game that I found to be a silly, weird theme, but it just works really well. It's easy to do the split, the choose, the store. It's one that has people laughing. It's a lot of fun. I give this one an 8 out of 10. That's Lil Guys. Tangram City. This one interested me for 2 reasons. One, Tangram. I like Tangrams. And Uwe Rosenberg, one of the greatest designers ever. You're building a city of Tangrams. Let me show you. In this game, each player has their board with a pre-printed thing on it, which will be different from board to board. And you're going to have a set of tiles. Now, you each get your own set of tiles. Weirdly enough, they did not differentiate who gets what tile. The tiles are green on one side and red on the other side. So you have to figure it out and split them into 4 equal things. You all have the same tiles. You're also going to have a deck of cards, and each round of the game is going to revolve around 4 cards being revealed. 1 card is face up. Everyone's going to see that one. The rest are shared as information between the players and will slowly be revealed. So once a card is revealed, then everyone's going to take that tile, and you can put it any way you want on your board. So I can put mine like this, as long as you're not covering stuff up. Here I formed a red and green square. It doesn't do anything. I have a red square, so my red is marked 1 here. Now I have 2 green squares, so green is on 2. I'm trying to find a balance between the 2 of them. The next card is this one here, so maybe I'll stick, this is a hard one. Maybe I'll put that like that. That gives me 2 more green squares. I'm getting a little ahead on green. Here, this one, and you want to make sure you grab the right piece because sometimes pieces can look similar. I guess I better get back to red. I'll put that there. That gives me 2 more red spaces. And then, oh, this one's just a single square. So I guess I'll put that one here. So now I have red on the board. And at the end of your turn, you will take 1 fountain and put it. And if a fountain is with another half section, then that becomes a complete square of that color. So now I have a green one. Now, in between turns, you're going to score for your biggest rectangle. Here, my biggest rectangle is a 2 by 3. You can see that there. So you get 1 point for each one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I would get 6 points up on the scoring track up there. And then we start the next round. You'll keep doing that till the cards run out. And at the end of the game, you are going to, If you fill your whole board, you get 15 points, and you get points based on the difference between your green and red. So if green and red are 1 apart at the end of the game, I'll get 10 points. But if they're exactly the same, I get 20. Most points is the winner. Well, I am, first of all, very, very, very diametrically opposed to this idea that the tiles are not delineated as to who gets what. That makes setting this up a huge pain. You're going to have to get 4 bags, put all the players' tiles in each bag, and not accidentally move one from one player to another, because it's just such a pain. Why they did that, I don't know. But let's take that out of it. The game is okay. The Tangram part of it is actually a pain in the neck, because you're trying to put the tiles down, but you're tilting them sideways. And the game says, if you fill your board, you get 15 points. I think if you fill your board, you should win the game and everyone else gives you $20, because it's really hard. You don't know the order these cards are coming out. You have no idea what's going to fit where. With those fountains, it's really hard to fill your board in this game. And there's that whole red-green balance thing, which sounds super fascinating, but it's really a red herring. This game is about just getting a big rectangle as fast as you can and then score those points every single round. You do that faster than everybody else, you've won. You really have, because they can't catch up. You get them even at the end of the game, it's 20, but if I get them 2 apart, I might get 7, you got 13 points, but I've already been whooping you the rest of the game. There's just too many things about this game that I don't find to be particularly interesting. So this is a 5 out of 10 for me. I don't really enjoy it. I like Uwe Rosenberg games most of the time, but this one just felt almost like a pain, especially giving the cards out and, okay, we two are going to share this card. Ooh, okay, we know some information. For a very brief moment in time, that's too much for just another tile-laying game. That's Tangram City. Misfits. Well, look at this. If I open it up, woo! See the wooden blocks? You probably already know how the game works. You're right. Here we go. In this game, you get a bunch of blocks, and happily, it shows you where to put them back in the box. Otherwise, this would be a real pain to put away. Each player gets 10 random blocks, although you can't have too many of these small ones. So you kind of spread them out evenly. And one person goes first. They put down the base, and then you're just, on your turn, putting a piece somewhere so it touches the tower. You don't want the tower to fall over. If you make a piece fall off or multiple pieces fall off, you get those pieces and put them in front of you. If you do something that makes the entire tower or more than half of it to fall over, then you get all the pieces. First person to get rid of all their pieces is the winner. So Misfits for me is a 6.5. Almost there for me. And I'll tell you why. I mean, because, well, it is what it is. It's a bunch of wooden blocks that you're stacking. We've seen this before with Jenga and many other stacking games. This one has some interesting blocks for sure, but the rules are kind of just the same as everything else. Stack it, and it falls, you get the pieces. I've seen that so many times before. This is a very well-produced quality version. I will grant them that. I like how it looks. They got a quote from the guy who made Jenga, so that's good. But it's just okay for me. I mean, not okay. I like it, I guess. But I don't know that I can really recommend it other than the component quality. So, like, they're not even colors. I think colors would have helped a bit. But anyhow, that's Misfits. Pirate Tales. Push your luck. Get some treasure. I do tend to like press your luck style games. Let's take a look. In this game, players are trying to get their ship all the way to the end. They're trying to collect doubloons, which are going to be worth points, or these blue gems, or 5 points, and these amazing red gems, which are worth 10. And they're doing so. You'll start with 5 of these white dice, which show some successes on them on 2 of the 5 sides. And you're going to, on your turn, decide to go on a sort of adventure. The first thing you might do is you can buy a single card from this deck for a coin. You can buy 2 cards for 3 coins or 3 cards for 6 coins. Then when you're done with that, you're going to go on your voyage. So let's say I buy one here for a coin. I get this card, and this lets me get an extra white die or an automatic success. So I'm going to decide how far I want to go. So this needs 3 successes. Wow, that's not a great way to start there. I'll turn over another card. 2 successes. I think that's far enough. So at this point in time, I'm going to pick an island. I can pick a 3, 5, or 7. I'll pick a 3. This is an easier run. The problem is I have 5 dice. So I'm going to roll. I got 2 successes. Not good enough, but I can re-roll these dice by getting rid of a die temporarily. So I remove one. to re-roll the rest. Remove that one. Not great. I only have 2 successes. I need 3 to even get to the first card. So I'll play this card here, which 1 plus 2. I made it to the first card. Great. I get whatever's in the top corner. I'm going to take an extra white die and roll that. It's a blank. I need 2 successes to get to the next card. Well, I guess I'll play these 2 cards to get to that one, which gives me another white die, which gives me nothing. So I failed. And when you fail, you'll draw a capsize card and do whatever it says. Here I can use this card once as a die with 1 success. Well, that's nice. Now, at the end of my turn, I'm going to look. I have a lot of dice here. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I can turn dice in. I'm going to turn in 4 of my white dice to take 2 red dice. So I still have 5 dice, which is the same as I had last time, but these red dice have 2 single successes and 2 double successes. You can turn 2 red dice in, get a black die, which is always a success, 1, 2, or 3. If I had managed to do the island, I would turn it over, get the reward, which in this case is 2 coins, move my ship forward 1, and get a white die. And you can see that the rewards get better. This one would have given me a red die, 2 cards from the deck, move my ship forward. This 7, a blue thing, move my ship forward 3. Now, as you move your ship forward, there's some rules. The island card that you place has to be at least as far as your ship. Also, when you start going to these spots, by the way, they give you extra coins if you make them, you'll start drawing Kraken cards, and negative things could possibly happen to you as you draw Kraken cards from the deck. And so it gets harder to make these longer voyages. That's how you play. When someone gets to the end, you add up all the coins and points, and whoever has the most is the winner. I enjoy Pirate Tales for a lot of reasons. I love rolling dice and allocating them, and you're going to bust a lot in this game. But every round, even if you bust, you get more dice. You can upgrade your dice. It just feels like you get some good stuff, and you'll try again next round. And the upgrading the dice is a really clean system. 2 whites for a red, 2 reds for a black. You can't carry more than 7 dice from one round to the next, but when you finally, you're like, I have 4 red dice and 3 black dice, and I saved up and got 5 cards in my hand, I am going all the way to the end of this round. That's enjoyable. There's a little bit of variance in the Kraken deck and in the Shipwreck deck, and actually they have swords in there so that you can take out easier or harder ones. But I felt that variance, I wish they were either all good or all bad type thing in there. There's also each turn when someone goes, you can bet, and they're going to get a coin from each player who bet against them. And if you bet, and if you think they were going to fail or not fail, and they got it correct, you get a coin. I know that they're trying to keep it from me being completely bored during other people's turns, but I thought the betting could have been dropped completely. Other than that, though, I still had a lot of fun playing it. I really like the press your luck aspect. I think the components are high quality. I like the layout map. I like the dice. It's just enjoyable. It feels a little bit different than other things that are out there and has a strong piratey theme to it. So that's definitely one to check out. It's an 8 out of 10 for me, Pirate Tales. Temple Raiders is a game that got me interested because I saw it in the mass market. I don't remember where I got it. It was either Amazon or like at Target or something. But here, you need to escape the temple, and it comes with a big plastic temple in here. Look at this thing. Oh, and actually, for some people, they're going to go, oh, that doesn't look like it's that good of a game. Watch this. In this game, everyone's going to have their relics on the top here, and they're numbered from 1 to 10. You're going to be mostly concentrating on your own. On your turn, you're going to roll some dice, and the number of dice is the number of players. So if you're playing with 4 players, you'll roll all the dice. So I roll these dice into the middle here, and I'm going to pick any 2 of them. So let's say I pick the 6 and the 1. So now that I did the 6 and the 1, I can do a couple things. I can move my 1 down 1 and my 6 down 1, or I can move my 7 down 1, or I can activate a power card that matches one of those numbers. I can activate the 7, which says move your 10, 9, or 8, so I will do that, or move my smallest relic, which in this case is a 1. You're trying to move your relics off the board, and when you move them off the board, you can put them in the altar room or in the storage room. If they're in the storage room, you can spend them, put them in your camp to add 1 to a die. If you have 2 in your altar room, from then on, anytime you roll an 11 and 12, you can move down any relic, and you can also move your smallest relic. You can also, sometimes cards will let you move them to the left or right, so if you can move them down, you can have easier numbers to move them to get them off the board. Get them all off the board, you win. Now, if you roll a lava thing, you can pick someone else who's in lava. So let's say another player rolled lava. They could take this one and move it back up one. You're able to move them back up. That's the game. First person to get all their relics down is the winner. Now, I know I shouldn't like Temple Raiders, but I'm giving this one a 7. I think it is fun. It has some very interesting aspects. You roll the dice, you're picking some of the dice, and then you'll activate one of those cards or move dice down. You got a dice and a 10, you're not going to roll too many 10s, but as soon as I can move one over, now the 10's a 9. I roll more 9s. Get it all the way down to the 6, and now there's a chance I can move it twice if I roll double 6s. So I like that concept of the game. Each of the cards that you have in front of you, they're not replaced till you get an idle off, but each player also has their own deck, so we all get the same cards. Don't love the lava dice that you move someone else upward, backwards, but they're not terrible either. It also means kind of maybe stay out of the lava. But really nice pieces. Doesn't stay in a box very well. I put everything in very neatly, put it in, and just now I opened it up and it's a mess. And I barely moved the box. But other than that, this is one I think you can get for some kids and they'd sit around and have a really good time with it. So it's a lot of fun. That's Temple Raider. And that, folks, is 8. Good. Very good. Pretty good. Not so good. Very good. I don't like it. Bad. And there you go. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel, and this has been the Dice Tower.